Hello and welcome to this edition of Piedmont Business Live. I'm your host, Ken Morrison. Today we are talking to Taylor Sutherland of Charlie's Soap.
Yes.
Taylor, welcome to Piedmont Business Live.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. It's got a great opportunity. Thanks for looking me up.
Glad to. Tell me about Charlie's Soap. How did this company start?
Well, this company actually, we are celebrating our 40th anniversary this coming July. It's always easy to remember. It's 7/6 of 76. Funny little thing. Anyway, my grandfather was part of a group of men putting together and running textile mills in Rockingham County. And he needed to find a job for my dad. So Charlie Sr. basically needed to hire Charlie Jr. to work in the chemistry labs. Charlie Jr., my dad, created an oil for the textile industry to help with running yarn and spooling it and threading it and texturing it and all this kind of things that you need to do with yarn. The oils that were available were expensive and nasty and not very biodegradable, and the EPA was cracking down on people back in the 70s. And it was just a pain to use, so Dad created this oil. And it worked great. They were producing yarn out the yin-yang. The problem was that the oil would not come off of the yarn. So they could produce a whole lot, but then it was useless on the other end. Not completely, but the cleaners weren't touching the oil. So Dad basically bought another cleaner and tried to keep his job alive. But then he realized, well, you know what? I made the oil. Let me see if I can't clean the oil. And he reverse engineered the oil that he'd created and basically targeted a cleaner to hit that oil. And the granddaddy of this puppy right here, the Charlie Soap Indoor Outdoor Surface Cleaner, was born. And it not only cleaned the oil off the yarn, but it cleaned the oil and anything else it touched off of everything else it touched. You ended up with a cleaner that the workers were going home cleaner and they were coming to work. And they would eventually, ultimately start taking by the gallon out of the main taps, and so to the tune of like 30% theft.
Good night.
Oh yeah, thousands of gallons were going in, and hundreds upon hundreds were going right back out the back door. So much so that and nepotism only goes so far.
Right.
So they forced Dad to open up an outlet store, and the funny story is still true today. The buyer didn't want to have anything to do with it. He said, this was a Winn-Dixie store. It's like, no, we run a clean ship. We don't do anything off the books. And the wife, who had become a fan of Charlie Soap at the time, said, oh, yes, you will. So the owner was like, okay, well, at least will you stock it? And Dad's like, no, I'll go give you a pallet and you're going to sell it. And he's like, no, I'm not. God. The wife said, yes, you will. And so we dropped a pallet in the middle of the floor about once a month, and it was sell out. It actually outsold Tide 4-1 for 16 some odd years. But Dad was not a marketer, so we had one store for almost 2 decades. And he's like, that's plenty. No, it was not. The namesake came from simply that Charlie Sr. was very hands-on with the workers at the textile mills. He was the face, regardless of whether or not he was the brains behind the operation. He most certainly was the face. And they would often run out, according to their job description, and say, hey, we need more of Charlie's Soap. Never mind the fact that we called it SB 2069, blah, 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 blah. They needed more of Charlie's Soap, and eventually the name just stuck. So much so that we renamed a division of the company to Charlie Soap. We actually have several divisions. And now from that one store, as a hobby from Dad, we are now worldwide with the numbers to back it up.
How about that? And so what makes Charlie Soap different from other detergents?
The reason I told you that other story, where the inception Charlie Soap came from, which is very important to what makes us different. Charlie Soap was designed to be an industrial strength cleaner, first and foremost. But at the same time, it was designed to be an industrial strength cleaner that you could spill all over your pants, get it in your eyes, dump it down the river, get it where you're not supposed to get it, accidentally ingest it, and be economic. So it had all the makings of a consumer brand built into the fact that it was an industrial strength product. So it was a consumer brand waiting for a reason to exist. So Charlie Soap goes in with a very few amount of chemicals. You've got, in the case of our popular laundry liquid, you've got Mayo River water, which if you're from Rockingham County, the Mayo River is one of the cleanest rivers around. Mm-hmm. You can actually drink out of it. I wouldn't, but I'm not that much of a risk taker. You'd think that for an entrepreneur, you'd be a risk taker, but no. So we got clean river water and minimally processed. You have ultra pure washing soda from Green River, Wyoming. We actually get the very, very expensive light grade soda ash, which has all the impurities stripped out. It's just clean water softening washing soda. And our special surfactant blend, the C1215 Parathute, it's non-toxic and biodegradable, but equally effective across a wide range of dirt. All of these things are extremely soluble. They go in, they grab the dirt because they attached to dirt. Right. And then they just sit there waiting for the water. And wherever the water goes, it takes the soap and the dirt with it without the need, and this is the key point, without the need of the brighteners, the polymers, the perfumes, the fabric softeners, the extra enzymes that normally people use to get stains out. A lot of times there will actually be not only preservatives, but motor oils buried down deep in other detergents because they know they stick to the machine and they don't want the machines breaking down, so they add motor oil to the detergent, which
sounds counterintuitive.
because they're designed, all the other brands are designed to stick to clothes to make them appear clean. And a lot of them do that very, very well. The tests prove that they appear clean. But these are chemical cover-ups that mask the fact that the stain's still there. The odor is still there. All the residues are still there. And after a while, a lot of people, mostly the ones with sensitive skin, will start itching and getting that persistent sinus headache that never goes away. And you don't know why you're having this headache. Well, it's because you're just inundated with effervescing chemicals all day, every day, 24/7. And the sensitive people among us can't stand it. The not so sensitive people don't realize it until they switch to Charlie Soap and all that stuff comes out. My mother-in-law is the perfect example. I gave her a bag of our laundry powder 10 years ago. I think she just took it so that I would, take her daughter, which worked actually.
Smart on her part then.
We're expecting Charlie the Fourth really, really soon.
Wonderful.
It's so I gave her a bag of the Charlie Soap laundry powder. I said, Meemaw, just try this, use it, and I'm going to do something for you. So she used it religiously because, it's free soap. And not being one to complain or even praise, she just kept using it. And then one day she asked for more, and I'm like, all right, I think I got her on the hook, and I just gave her another one, and she kept going, all the way through the winter months until spring. We went out for, there was a music festival in the park up here at, what's the road up at the crossroads from here? Past Elfland. I know it's Elfland. Anyway, it's Elfland. Anyway, so we went up to a music festival in the park, and we got there, and it was hot, about a day like today, and she starts to itch. She starts to just scratch, and I'm like, Emma, what is the matter? She says, I am itching up a storm. I said, okay. You're using Charlie Soap? Yes, on everything. Yes, on absolutely every. Then it dawned on her, not that shirt. This is something that she had pulled out from the closet from the previous season, and that was filled with all the stuff that she had become used to.
Gotcha.
It never itched her before, but made her itch before because she was used to it. Now we removed all these things, and her skin was finally healing. And we put the irritant back on, and she's like, oh no. That's when she became an instant Charlie Soap fan forever and forever and forever.
And you'd think that with the traditional detergents that everybody has been using for years and years, You think, well, the clothes look clean. You assumed that they were free of all of the bad stuff, so to speak.
You would assume that until you look at two things. For those who actually can look at these things, you can actually see the weight of those clothes creep up. You can actually put them under a black light and they glow blue from the chemicals, especially the free and clear brands. You put a blue light or black light over a white shirt that was neutral. You wash it in free and clear, and it'll turn blue under that light. So that's the dye that it didn't have in it.
Wow.
It's the clear that it doesn't. That's the perfumes are scent blockers that they didn't have in it, of course. The only thing free and clear about the free and clear brands is that they got away with your money free and clear. So, I love that joke. But if you put it under a black light, it'll glow blue. Think of one of the up-and-coming chemicals that you can buy at the grocery store. It's a washing machine cleaner. These little tablets that take away the residues in your washing machine. Washing machines stink and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Where do you think those residues came from?
The detergent.
They came from the detergent. And these things are not indiscriminate. I mean, they are not discriminating. They're going to stick to the washing machine, and they're sticking to your clothes. Gotcha. Now, why in God's name would you just take a bottle of, I'm not going to say the brand name, and just pour it all over yourself? Because that's what you're doing. Now, is Charlie Soap a miracle worker? No, of course not. That's why we have pre-treater, and we have an oxygen bleach for those really tough stains. And there are a few of them. Charlie Soap will not cover. If it misses something, okay, you might want to try it again. But at least you know that it wasn't clean in the first place. Like if something came out of the wash and it didn't quite smell right, that means it didn't quite get clean and you want to wash it again. It might smell clean from the other brands, but they're covering it up.
What you're really smelling are the perfumes.
Exactly. Charlie Soap will not let you get away with walking out the house with something that's unclean. Now, we actually have the test to prove that it does clean grease, grass, blood, etc. We have the test to prove that it rinses completely. And we have the test to prove that once your clothes get rinsed down completely clean, that they will actually maintain their softness or their durability or their wicking ability or their waterproof ability or flame retardant ability, what have you, whatever the garment was designed to do, it will continue to do as long as you're washing in Charlie Soap. And the kicker of all this is that whatever you're flushing down the drain, biodegrades in like 40 days. So
how about that?
Proof's in the pudding. We actually have smart guys working in our plant. We're a zero waste facility. By zero, I mean a couple of tablespoons a month. And those couple of tablespoons are like some misty powder that we have it's got nowhere to go. So we actually vented it to the outside, right into our grass field on the back of the building. And there is a green patch right where that vent is. So we're actually fertilizing the backyard. But yeah, we have zero. And this is just literally a couple of pellets of fine dirt. It's the dirt is the washing soda, which is a mineral. So it just comes out the back every once in a while. And there's a nice green patch where this stuff is because it's nutrients for the soil. So it's an amazing product. We actually lost, and I'm probably going over time here. We lost something like 7,000 gallons due to a disaster last year, the year before last. Little sight glass popped off of our main tank with a hose attached to it, and it went over the dike and into the drain and down the hill. And oh God, it was.
My!
We had the state out, and we had all these wonderful things that people who have spills are supposed to do, and they couldn't find it anywhere in their detection facilities downstream. The only thing that they could see was 10-foot tall soap bubbles drifting slowly down the river. With fish eating it, and so
which had to be quite a sight.
Oh, especially when the wind kipped it and blew it into some Lawrence Welk throwback thing. But seriously, the fish were eating it. They can't detect it in the water. There was no pH imbalance. There was 0 fish kills, which you would expect that in a very small, shallow river. There would be a lot of problems. So not only were there no fish kills, but the grass grew like a expletive. So it was even when we try to screw up, we can't screw up. We found a very unique, very fun product to use. You're saving money. You're buying local. You're getting the job done. You're not hurting the environment. You're sticking it to the man. That kind of fun stuff.
That's amazing to me that
Place to work.
a product that cleans so much and so thoroughly, you would think, well, that thing's got to be really harsh. But it's just the opposite, and that's quite an accomplishment.
And the harshness is something that we're trying to untrain people to think. Right. They think is something that's going to clean that deeply. It's got to be a harsh cleaner, like you said. But those are chemical strippers. I mean, that might as well have sold you a belt sander to just scrape away the outside layer. Charlie Soap doesn't work like that. It works by going in with a very small, like I said, with a very small amount of chemicals, and it sits there in the clothes and it works its way beneath the fibers, just sitting there. But dirt uses energy to stick to your shirt, my shirt, your pants, or whatever. It uses less energy to stick to the soap. So chemically, the world of chemistry says whatever is the easiest for me to do, I'm going to do that. The dirt simply lets go and grabs onto the easier thing that it's grabbed onto. And since it binds onto water exceptionally well, when the water hits it, everything goes. Now, the really technical part, and I'm not sure how we've managed to achieve this, and we still don't know how we managed to achieve it, but it has a fail-safe. If a stain's not going to come out, the last thing you want to do is for the soap to stick to the stain, and then now you got stain and soap, and that's where you get residues, and that's where you get a big problem. It binds onto water just a little bit more. So if the water starts tugging on it and the stain's not coming out, and there are a few of them like that, and the stain won't come out, it'll let go of the stain before it lets go of the water. So it will always 100% rinse out of your clothes, so that you're not going to get this hypoallergenic effect because it's not there.
Gotcha.
So that's
Okay.
it.
Well, where can people find Charlie Soap?
The first place to do is to go to charliesoap.com. That's CharlieSoap.com. There's a big old button that says Buy Now. It'll be a little bit easier when we change the website, hopefully by the end of the year. You click that and you type in your zip code and it'll point you to it. However, we are doing quite a lot of work with Fresh Market, Lowe's Foods, Ingles, Harris Teeter, Whole Foods, Earth Fare, Deep Roots. We're working on a number of independents across North Carolina. Like I said, we are brand spanking new in Food Lion in Mayodan. We're nowhere beyond, no Food Lions beyond there just yet, but we're working on it. Smattering of vitamin shops. If you find farmers markets, chances are it probably has it. Gotcha. Our laundry powder is the #1 selling laundry powder on Amazon.com. Has been for about 5 years now.
Great.
Yeah, we lost our #1 slot to Tide for a while, but it wasn't even their powder. It was their little bubble thing-majiggers, which weren't technically a powder. So
those little packs.
Those little pods.
Gotcha.
Those little pods. So we've got packets, which I didn't bring today, and I'm kicking myself for it. What we've done is we know that people like single dose, but they don't want to poison their children. They don't want to flush down that plasticky material. They don't want this giant Christmas tree ornament blob of these pods that stick together if they get slightly moist. We wrap it in cellulose, and it just dissolves. It's like wrapping it in toilet paper. It doesn't dissolve when you touch it. It doesn't break apart when you touch it. You just kind of grab a little packet, throw it in the washing machine, and as long as your water is cool to the touch and warmer than that, and then it's fine. You just it's kind of ugly and nondescript, so the children won't want to pick it up because it doesn't look like candy.
Yeah.
It's made from cellulose instead of polyvinyl alcohol, so it's a little bit greener and it's a little bit better on septic systems. It is filled with a powder instead of a liquid, so if a child does decide to chew on it, it's not going to burst and go down their throat.
Gotcha.
We have, and it's non-toxic, so even if they did manage to get through all that and eat some of it, okay, give them some orange juice, they're fine.
How about that? That's amazing.
So yeah, any Just Google Charlie Soap and you'll find it.
You'll find it.
Yes, sir.
Well, where do you see your company in 5 years?
Well, selling out and go to the beach. No, I'm kidding. Go to the moon. No, that's anyway. We hope to branch out into industrial sales. That's where we started. We kind of lost our way, but we found a better way in consumer brands. But that's our route. That's our roots, and I think we owe it to ourselves to really pursue that. We've got a couple of really, I don't want to date myself on this video by saying something that's not coming to fruition yet, but we got a couple of really, really good prospects that will change the world, actually, if it, knock wood, actually happens. So I'm hoping that's the one thing I really want to do, and then use the proceeds from that to promote our consumer brand even more heavily, which will spread the word even further, which will then in turn help the industrial side, and it should spin on itself that way.
Terrific.
So that's what I'm hoping to do, and then support my family and the new ones and the old ones as well. Like I said, there is Charlie the Fourth coming on, and that's gonna take some effort. So a lot of people, I got accused one time. I went into a co-op in north of Natick, Massachusetts. I was telling a story about Charlie Soap, and the guy looked at me and says, "I always thought that this was some big multi-conglomeration that was just kind of spinning off a company to sell their cleaner into the green world." And I'm like, I've been accused of many things, but not being a giant evil corporation. I mean, I am evil, but that's beside the point. No. Only my closest friends call me evil. There you go. But so I hope to be a big corporation very, very soon. But one with a heart, because you're not going to get there by poisoning the air, poisoning the water, poisoning your consumers. Nobody gets there that way, and if they do, they deserve to fall. We're going to get there the right way by providing value for value. We are a premium product. It's not going to be $1.99. It's just this is a product that's worth the money to put down. However, we are competitive. And in the market for the prices that we are, and we're going to provide something that you've never seen before, and you will want to do business with Charlie Soap. So we want to be that company that you want to work with. Not oh Lord, it's just them again trying to. No. We're gonna have a soul.
Well, speaking of family, you're Charlie the Third. So tell me about Charlie Jr. What's he up to?
His eyeballs in trouble. Right now, he is going back to his tinkerer roots. He's got himself a glider. He's trying to get his glider's license. We had a plane a long time ago, back when things were cheap, because it was a 6-hour drive to Grandma's house with 2 screaming kids, but it was a 2-hour flight.
No-brainer.
Yeah. Cost be damned, it was a no-brainer. But I learned to fly from there, so we sold the plane 20 years ago, and by luck got it back recently. So he's now flying again that way, and I'm upping my certificate, so we're doing a lot of stuff there. What else is he doing? He's just tinkering around the house. He's working with my youngest brother, to develop a dish detergent. He plays. He ran for Senate last time around. Yeah. U.S. Senate rather. Obviously didn't win, but he loves stirring the pudding. As Neil Bortz would say, he loves just making a big fuss, and he's not going to stop anytime soon.
So who else in your family has a role in the business?
Well, I'm president of Charlie Soap Division, which is the consumer side, which is branching out into the industrial side, but it's the sales side of Charlie Soap, of Sutherland products. My next down sister, I'm the oldest of 4. My sister is chairman of the board. She comes in once a quarter and gives us hundreds of good ideas. We pick a few and run with them. And we do like any brother and sister and brother and brother. We usually, there's a lot of fighting and bickering and beer, but not necessarily in that order. And no, she is an outside voice that comes in and breaks us of our habits. So I like that.
That is good.
My next down brother, James, that was Jane Sutherland, named after her mom and her mom's mom. So she's a third as well.
Gotcha.
My brother James, he is in charge of industrial sales, current industrial sales, bulk sales, international, of which we're working with several international companies, as well as production management. So he likes to come in and say, all right, process is A, B, C, F, D. Why is F before D? I don't know, that's the way we've always done that. So he likes breaking those patterns up. It's really been helpful. Once a year, he'll go through the entire staff and say, tell me your job, and let's see if we can make it better. A lot of continuous process improvement, Kaizen, I think is what they call that. Always looking for a better way to do things. He likes to call it efficiency through laziness. Because nobody actually wants to work. They want to get the job done in 5 minutes and go play Scrabble. But the job has to be done, so he enjoys that. My youngest brother is IT and procurement and R&D.
Gotcha.
And then we have another 14 people. It changes every day, I swear. Another 12 people working under us in various positions, as you would expect, in logistics and sales and AP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And
we
I
have
assume,
a fun team. It's a small, compact team, but it's a well-oiled machine.
yeah. I assume Charlie IV will be the CEO soon after he's born.
I'm sure he's going to live in Boulder, Colorado, and teach yoga or something. I hope to God he will follow in his footsteps. You know what I meant. Follow. I'm hoping he's going to follow me because I took a roundabout. I mean, at first I was a physics major in atmospheric science, and I was going to work for NASA, which did not work. Then I ended up selling computers and teaching GE managers how to run these little personal iPad type things. That didn't work. Then I was a teacher for a year. That didn't work. Sold TVs. That didn't work. My dad calls me up in 2001 and says, have I got a job for you? And I'm like, good, because I'm about to get fired.
Dad to the rescue.
Let's put it this way. I wasn't so much fired as I was voluntarily not returning. It was mutual. But he says, I'm going to sell 40 truckloads of this powder that we've just created. And I'm like, we don't make powder. He says, we do now. I was like, okay, fine. Turns out 40 truckloads was about 4 cases. But the end result was Charlie Soap laundry powder, which again is not only the #1 selling laundry powder on Amazon, it's the number 3 or 4 brand in the natural and specialty world, up against Mrs. Myers and 7th Generation.
Wow.
It makes the bulk of, we command about 2.6% of the entire internet laundry detergent business, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of soap.
That is a lot.
Back in February, we sent 43 tons in one shot to one customer. So it was, Tide is, of course, the ruler, and 7th Generation is about 5%. But we're at 2.6, and Mrs. Myers was 2.5, so we beat out the big boys.
That's great.
Without the chemical cover-ups, without the hype, without the dancing girls and rocket ships.
Based solely on a quality product.
It's quality. Build a better mousetrap in the world will eventually beat a path to your door.
Right.
We just have to figure out where the door is so we know how to let them in.
Well, Taylor, thanks so much for sharing your story about Charlie Soap and your company, and we wish you continued success with that. And if you want to know more about Charlie Soap, as Taylor said, the website is at the end of this video. It's also at the bottom of this page. We invite you to visit them and find where you can get some Charlie Soap for yourself. Thanks very much for tuning in to Piedmont Business Live. Taylor, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it. immensely. I hope you guys did too.
We'll see you again next time. Take care.